It's so hard. Good morning, guys. How are you? How are you on this beautiful Monday morning? If you are joining me for the very first time, welcome. I am Latina Mata, the founder of True Growth Caribbean, a mindset coach and a facilitator of healing with Revelation Breathwork. And today is our second Journal Live session since my hiatus. And I'm so glad to be here. Now, if you're joining me, don't be shy. Please say hello in the chat. Let me greet you warmly, lovingly, and all the fun things today. It is the 8th of November. Guys, where is the time going? I have no clue. And today is another chance for us to get it right. Get it right. Today is another chance for us to do things differently. Today is another day for us to be very intentional as we move through the different segments in our day. Today is another chance for us to make better decisions. Good morning, Keisha. I am great. How are you today? Um, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, 6:30 is too early. But I know people have to get to work. I know that people have things to do. And I mean, why not start the day with such good intentions, right? So guys, today we are for the month of November. Our journal prompts will be around self-love. And I just want to share something from a book first before we get into our journal prompts. And I'm going to read from this book here. So this book, Care Package, Path to Deep Healing by Sylvester McNaught. So it says, note to self, I'm going to put it up here. You're only responsible for your own experience. Save yourself. Be the hero you need for you today, tomorrow, and every day thereafter. And I found that was a good read for us to just sit with today. I know, you know, sometimes depending on the circumstances we're in, it feels easier to just wish somebody else could come and fix it, save us, make it better. And I myself, I am super guilty of that. But ever so often, I have to remind myself, hey, Latina, nobody's coming to save you. You've got to save yourself. And so that's my word with you today. Be the hero you need to be for you today, tomorrow, and every day after. All right. So, Keisha, are you ready for us to journal today? Let me know. Guys, for those of you who had been asking me about the Just Few journal, it is available on Amazon. This is what it looks like. I came prepared today. Looks like this. Just Few journal. And excuse my crap of foot handwriting, but looks like this on the inside. You know, some quotes here and there. And it's very cute. So if you want something more structured to journal with, I do recommend the Just Few journal. All right, so we are about to start today. So of course, we're going to start with your power word. So I want you to write in the chat what your power word for the week is. And good morning, Andrea. And when you write this word, I actually want you to really put some thought into this, right? Okay, what is your word? Meaning that this is going to be part of your grounding exercise. Is going to be that it's subliminal. This subliminal word that's going to keep you grounded. So Keisha says focus. Keisha says focus. My word is impact. It has been impact for the last 10 months, 11 months now. Guys, this tea is so hot. Let me show you all my cup as well. Oh my goodness, the thing is peeling off. But before it started to get look like this, my sister got me this cup. Very cute. Andrea, your word is discipline. I love it. So, guys, that is our power word for this morning. So, for this week. And today, I want us to just have a real quick chat about self love, right? Guys, when we look at self love or we think about self love, it's very easy for us to think about all these surface things. We talk about self care, of course, which is absolutely important. And then for those of us who are a little more conscious, we understand that doing the inner work, doing the healing, looking at our trauma, like that is also part of our self love. But recently, and it has come up again for me and some clients as well, is that there is this radical self love that so many of us are missing. And I define that radical self love as radical self acceptance, which means loving all the parts of you. All. And when I say all, I mean the shame, the guilt, the fear, the over emotional. And I put it in inverted commas because I've heard many clients tell me that, they wish they weren't so emotional. Um, the parts of you that you wish that you could fix or that you could change, the procrastination, the perfectionism, all those things. And I know, and you guys could tell me if this resonates or not, right? Good morning, Anita. What we see and what we are being taught and what social media shares, etc. This is no shade to anybody, or maybe it is, I'm not sure. But there is this narrative that we need to fix it. We need to get rid of it. Like we need to stop it. And in my line of work and what I've been doing, my belief is that we don't need to fix it, get rid of it. We need to first meet it with so much self love, so much compassion, so much understanding, and so much patience in order to soften its impact, for it to soften its charge in our lives. Because those parts are parts of us that are rooted in fear, and it would manifest ever so often in your life. And for some people, it might be the thing in charge right now. For some people, the procrastination, the perfectionism, the overthinking, the decision paralysis, the fears might be so crippling and so paralyzing that it is running your show right now. And you may find yourself beating yourself up and you're like, why can't I fix it? Why can't I get better? What is wrong with me? Why can't I do what is my problem? And so you are meeting this part of you with so much annoyance and irritation and resistance. And I say, meet it with love, meet it with compassion, meet it with understanding. Because believe it or not, those parts of you that seem so terrible, that you want to just get rid of, that you want to fix, is a part of you that is simply trying to keep you safe. Because that is what you learned as a child. That is what experiences in the past taught you, that, hey, if I procrastinate, and I mean, I don't want to go too deep so early in the morning, but if you procrastinate, if you just, you stay in your comfort zone, basically, then you'll be safe. But there's a part of you now that is more conscious, that is more self aware, that is more present, and you recognize the procrastination, you recognize the fears, you recognize the overthinking, you recognize these parts of you. And so you want to change it, you want to fix it. And my word to you is, don't try to fix it or change it. Meet those parts of you as lovingly and as compassionately as you would meet a little child, as you would have wanted to be met when you were a little child. Imagine or just think back for a moment at your own kids or at yourself when you were a child, when you would have engaged or done things that, probably wasn't most approved by your parents, for example. You would have wanted them to meet you lovingly, compassionately, with understanding, with grace, not for them to beat you up or for them to quarrel or for them to be angry or for them to be frustrated to the point where you feel as though you weren't allowed to have the experience that you had. And so this entire journey of self-loving radically starts with reparenting, which is essentially to give yourself what it is you need. And in order to give yourself what it is you need to start meeting yourself lovingly, compassionately. So, guys, it's Monday. Some people might have already made that whole plan for the week. So I'm going to do this, that, the other. And of course, I'm there with you 100%. But when you hear that overcritical voice coming up, when you hear the what is wrong with me? Why can't I get it done? Why can't I fix it? When you hear those voices coming up, I want you to just be an observer. I just want you to be an observer of those emotions, of those thoughts, and I want you to acknowledge that in that moment you are not meeting yourself with love and grace. How could you meet yourself with love and grace so that you could let the power of the procrastination or the perfectionism or the fear soften? Right? It's like having this internal conflict. So, Andrea, I'm seeing that you're saying, you're currently going through this and it's so frustrating. And I see you. But it's going to be frustrating if we continue to fight with ourselves, if we continue to beat ourselves and try to beat yourself into submission. The goal is not to beat yourself into submission. The goal is to acknowledge those parts of you that you've been dismissing, that you've been trying to get rid of, that you've been trying to ignore, that you've been wishing could be fixed or changed, and acknowledge it lovingly. And to accept those parts of you. And let me make this abundantly clear: accepting those parts of you does not mean that you are surrendering for those parts of you to run your show. Accepting those parts of you simply means that you are giving yourself a chance to see those parts of you, because you could only meet yourself, you could only meet anybody else as far as you've met yourself, right? So if you are dismissing, ignoring, loving yourself conditionally, then guess what we're going to do? We're going to be the same way with other people, believe it or not, because we could only take somebody as far as we've taken ourselves, right? So the goal is not to beat yourself into submission, and it is also not for you to um, see those parts of you and say, okay, well, fine, this is me and this is how I am, take me as I am. No, it's for you to see those parts, love it, forgive it, thank it, because all it had been trying to do for so long is just keep you safe, and then make a decision that the higher parts of you, the bigger parts of you, the more conscious parts of you is going to be in charge. So when the procrastination comes up, when the perfectionism comes up, when the triggers are so loud, when the feeling of just being so docile and withdrawn and just shutting off everybody comes up, which is all parts of your traumatic responses, you acknowledge it. I see you. Why are you here? What are we doing? What am I feeling? What's going on underneath me, inside of me, that I'm not acknowledging? And when you are able to pause and be present in the moment to see that, that part of you feels seen. That part of you feels heard. That part of you feels acknowledged. That little girl or little guy who is having the whole tantrum, hence the reaction, hence the, all the manifestations of it via all the mediums of perfectionism, procrastination, the fear, the emotional reaction, all the things, acknowledge it. Once it be acknowledged, and then you decide, okay, I'm in charge. I'm gonna take over this weekend. I'm gonna do this today. So this is my day. Okay, so I see you, but I'm in charge, right? So as I said, guys, we are doing self love journal prompts today. And so we're going to start with what we're grateful for. And as usual, I love for you guys to put in the chat that one thing that you're grateful for. So I'm not using my journal today. I'm using, oops, I'm using my regular journal, which I showed you guys last week. God goes glowing and growing. Bought that on Amazon. It took her forever to get here, about 2 months. But yeah, so write in the chat for me, guys. What is one thing that you're grateful for? You could share with me I am grateful mhm, that I woke up in good spirits today. Today is a beautiful day. Good morning, guys. So, as I wait for you guys to let me know what you're grateful for, um, I just need to remind you that this thing that we do here, you see this, journaling and affirmations and, meditation and breath work and all the beautiful things and EFT and NLP and all the modalities that exist to support us. What makes this work is our intention behind it. And I don't ever, and this is something that I had to learn for myself and something that I still continue to learn. When we approach these modalities, when we come to journal, when we come to, do these things, let it not be from a space of fix me, I'm broken, fix me. That is not, that is not the energy we want to go into these spaces at. We want to go into these spaces with the intention to be as loving and as compassionate as we possibly could for the parts of us that hurt, for the parts of us that feel as though it needs healing, for the parts of us that just feel so disconnected, you know? Keisha says, I'm grateful for the what the week has in store for me. Oh, I love that. It's manifestation and its finest. Oh, yes, guys. So, guys, I'm going to move on to the next journal prompt. Where are we? Right. So, based on what I shared earlier, in terms of, us wanting to be fixed and us wanting to have things better, and, we're like, okay, this week I'm not going to procrastinate, this week I'm not going to do this. And we have all the list of things, I wish I wouldn't be so emotionally, whatever. The question is, what are the parts of you that you wish you can improve or fix or get rid of? And I really, really want you to, I really want you to just give yourself permission to be just a smidget vulnerable today. Because this question does raise some vulnerability. It's a safe space. Your journal is your safe space, and you get to use that tool for you. Your journal gets to show up for you. So you could use this as your tool of safety, your space of safety. What are the parts of you that you wish you can improve or fix or get rid of? And I don't want you to have any shame as you journal about it. Let it go. And this ties into the point that I made earlier, okay? So don't worry if it feels like such a hard question. Does this feel like a hard question, guys? Let me know. so as I journal, so as I journal this, I feel the vulnerability. I feel like, wow, Latina, this is a big one. So it could be physical things, it could be emotional things, mental things, a way of being, certain activities or actions that you do that you're not the proudest of. It could be whatever. But it's just a part of you that people say, I wish I was more disciplined. I wish I was more disorganized. I wish. What is the opposite word? to describe that. Um, so if you're not disciplined, then you're what, lackadaisical? I don't know how to spell that, but you know what I mean. So whatever the part is, I want you to write it down. And let me know, guys, when you are ready to move on to the next sprout. Andrea says, I'm grateful for the message I received from Spirit yesterday to detachment. This happened at doing breathwork and meditation. Beautiful. Anita says, I'm grateful that I can sit with my unheard self and allow it to teach me. Wow, powerful. Right, guys. So the next journal prompt, this is where it gets fun. Mhm. How can you love you today in spite of, and I want you to fill in the blank with the things that you would have written in the previous prompt. How can you love you today in spite of? How can I love me today in spite of? So let's just say you wrote, I want to change my disorganization. I want you to write, how can you love you today in spite of your disorganization? How can I love me today in spite of being afraid? How can I love me today in spite of feeling overwhelmed and anxious all the time? How can I love me today in spite of? So, whatever the emotion or the experience or the part of you that you mentioned in the previous prompt, I want you to journal. How can you support you today? How can you love you today in spite of that? So, I'm just going to show the previous prompt. Nice. And then here is the follow up prompt. How can you love you today in spite of? Are you guys finished with that? Keisha, are you finished with this prompt? How can you love you today in spite of? So, my response to this is to acknowledge that everything that I've done until this point is enough. Okay, nice, Anita. So, I love this. This here is usually it's a line pulled from EFT. It really does help move some stuck energy in your body. It really does help change um, some belief patterns that we have. So I want you to write, even though I feel or blank. So even though whatever that is, I still completely love and accept all of me. And in this moment, while you write it, you may notice some discomfort. You may notice some disbelief, like, like I don't want to love me even though, because I wish that I could change that. I wish I wasn't that way. I wish I could fix that. It's the radical self-love that I spoke of earlier. Even though I feel afraid, even though I feel unworthy, even though I feel undeserving, even though I feel unpretty, even though I feel ashamed, even though I feel not good enough, even though I feel like I'm too thin, I'm too fat, I'm too small, I'm too big, or what, even though I feel whatever that is, I still completely love and accept all of me. And in that moment, if you could visualize hugging yourself, if you want to hug yourself for yourself, like give yourself a big squeeze, you're allowed to do that. And for myself and a lot of other people, when they give themselves permission to do this, sometimes it hurts. It hurts because you're like, you had no clue that you did not love and accept all the parts of you. Because I mean, and as I said, this work, the more you do this work, the more self aware you become, the deeper your self discovery, the more you learn about yourself. And when I first recognized that the things that I was trying to fix and change and do better and let go of was not from a place of love, it opened up a can of worms for me to acknowledge that the foundation of the change that I am trying to create, the foundation of the change that you are trying to create for your life, rest in meeting the parts of you lovingly, compassionately, with grace, not from a space of trying to beat yourself into submission or fix it or get rid of. And I am not saying that that means, oh, well, accept me just as I am, take me as I am, and you have this obnoxious arrogance about you. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you are able to meet those parts of you with love, with grace, with compassion, forgive it, say thank you to it, say sorry to it, do all the things, because all it has been trying to do is serve you and keep you safe for so long. It empowers you to make better decisions. It empowers you to have a new emotional home. It empowers you to see other people and meet other people with more grace and compassion as well. Right? So I want you to fill in that blank. Even though I feel dot dot dot, I still completely love and accept all of me. Even though I feel as though I am disorganized, I still completely love and accept all of me. Even though I feel unworthy, whatever it is, I want you to just write that, and I want you to say completely love and accept all of me. You still do. And of course, guys, let me know when you're finished. Uh, Good morning, Cindy. I love this. Cindy wrote, I'm grateful for showing up even though I feel blank this morning. Yeah, I'm proud of you for showing up too, Cindy. So this is a journal prompt. Even though I feel, I still completely love and accept all of me. And if in this moment you could give yourself a hug, do so. So I'm going to give myself a hug. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to love you even though, right? Okay. So next one. What are my intentions or goals for this week? So here is a big one. So last night I did my own breathwork session on myself or with myself. It was beautiful. I cried like a baby. And there was so much resistance in that breathwork session, guys. Like, ooh, there was so much resistance. And in that moment, I was reminded once again as to why it is so important, or what is the benefits of actually having a facilitator hold space for you in a breathwork session. It also, in my experience, for sure, it has reduced the resistance, right? So me trying to breathe for 45 minutes, there was a lot of resistance for myself. And something came up. And what came up was, a girl, stop complaining. Like, stop complaining and stop acknowledging all the things that you do not want. So, my perspective is complain, right? And follow me, stick with me. Complain not from a fussy, annoying space, but complain so that you are very clear about all the things that you don't want, so that you could be super, super clear on all the things that you do want, right? So if you complain about a lot of things, now I am 100% sure, because I'm there, been there, I'm 100% sure the things that you complain about are proof that there are things, the opposite of that is what you actually want. So now that we are super clear, because we have complained enough, now that we are super clear on the things that we are complaining about, we are now very clear about the things that we do want. So if somebody says, "What do you want?" and you say, "Well, I don't know," you always know, because whatever you're complaining about is the thing that you do want, right? So the opposite of that complaint is what you actually want. So in my download yesterday, the download was, or one of them was, stop complaining. Instead, the complaints that you have, focus on what you actually want. Speak in the positive. I want a new home. I want more money. I want a new husband. Whatever the complaint is that you have been complaining about for the longest while, start speaking in the opposite. Start speaking in terms of what you want, not what you do not want. It is default mode for so many of us to just go into what I don't want. I don't want this. I don't want a man who's do this. I don't want a woman who's do that. I don't want this. I don't want. But what about what do you want? And that is a powerful question for you to have. What do I want? What do I need right now? What do I want today? What do I need? What are my intentions for this week? So I want you to write down what are your intentions or goals for this week. And if you want to keep it extra simple, what do you want? Yes. Rewrite the narrative, right? Rewrite the narrative. So instead of us being in complain mode, when I say nothing is wrong with complaining, it is from the angle of you being very clear about what it is you do want. So after you complain, you check in, oh, wait, I'm complaining. So that means that these are the things that I do want. And as Andrea said, in rewriting that narrative, we are going to focus on the things that we actually do want, not what we don't want. Right? So, what are intentions or goals for this week? You're going to write about that. Or simply, what do I want? Guys, if y'all are hearing Zoe, I apologize. Seems as though she's just gotten up. Mhm. And you guys could share in the chat what is your intention for the week. So my intention is to stick to my plans, stick to my schedules. My intention is to be clear about what it is I want, not focused on what I don't want. Let me know when you guys are finished. All right, so we're moving on to the next prompt now. What is my non-negotiable task? And I talk about non-negotiables so often. And non-negotiable for me is from a space of, hey, how can I keep a promise to myself? So sometimes we have to trick our brains and tell our brains things, right? And if we have this long to-do list and we're like, I have all this to do, there comes the overwhelm, there comes the anxiety, there comes the frustration. But the goal never changed, right? What happens is that you're like, geez, how am I going to accomplish this goal? How am I going to get there? How am I going to do this? Life keeps happening, things are happening, new things are taking place. So then how about we start with something very simple, a non-negotiable. And a non-negotiable simply means that rain, thunderstorm, haze, whatever, it's going to be done. And it's going to be done in a way that works for you. It's going to be done in a way that aligns with your value system. It's going to be done in a way that serves you. It is going to be done simply because you are worth keeping that promise to yourself. So, what is that non negotiable task? What is that non negotiable task? So, from that space, look at the goals that you have, look at the intention that you have for this week, and then reverse engineer. So, if the goal is to complete an assignment this week, then your non negotiable task could look like every day for 3 days or 4 days for the week. I spend a half hour working on that assignment. Reverse engineer your non negotiable task if you aren't 100% sure of what it should be. And if reverse engineering is not an option, then trust your intuition. Whatever pops in your spirit, your body, your thoughts about what is that one thing that you need to do as often as you can for this week, then trust that that is what it is. Okay. So in the past, my non negotiable was to work out for a minimum of 10 minutes. And just from keeping that promise, it has compounded into a year of consistency. And trust me, I never knew that it was possible for me. But it stemmed from me deciding what my non negotiable was, seeing that my promises to myself was worth keeping and doing it even when I didn't want to. Rain, thunderstorm, sunshine, whatever. And so that applies to any area of your life. Yeah. So my new non-negotiable, well, as of the last couple weeks, is to dedicate 1 hour of uninterrupted work daily. Doesn't matter if it happens 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock in the night, 5 o'clock, but it must be done. Little shifts add up to a massive shift over time. Good. So we're in a home stretch, guys. Declare your affirmation for the weekend, guys. I want you to write this one in the chat. I'm pretty sure that your affirmations are going to benefit somebody else because not everybody knows, how to put their words together or what to say. And you never know if your affirmation resonates. I'm going to share my affirmation for the week as well. So put it in the chat and you can put it in caps. So you're declaring it, you're making it super, super clear. A declaration, An affirmation is a declaration between yourself and God. An affirmation is a declaration between yourself and God. Okay, so write those affirmations in the chat. Here is my affirmation that I'm sharing with you. I don't chase, I attract. What belongs to me will simply find me. So that also was a download in my breathwork session yesterday. And I realized, oh, well, clearly you heard this somewhere, Latina, because it's all over the internet. But it resonated so much. I don't chase, I attract. What belongs to me will simply find me. So after you acknowledge that, and then you say what it is you want or what your intentions are, you get up and you move through each segment of your day intentionally. Have your power word grounding you, have your affirmation grounding you. Then give yourself permission to be present in the moment. All right. So, guys, I don't chase, I attract. What belongs to me will simply find me. I hope you guys have completed your affirmations. I'm going to read one more thing for you to wrap up. Let me know, how are you feeling? How are you feeling this morning? All right, so let me read from this book here. So this is the same book that I read when we first started. Before I go, let me share Andrea's message today. Faith without work is dead. I don't know if that's considered an affirmation, but I've been hearing it in my head. Of course, it's an affirmation. Of course, faith without work is dead. Well, as you said, in terms of affirmation, it's what resonates with you. And so you could use that. You use whatever works for you, Andrea. Faith without work is dead. That is a word. I am accomplishing far more than I give myself credit for. I must celebrate my progress. Yes, my girl, Keisha. Yes. Cindy says, I deserve the best and accept the best now. Yes. Give yourself permission to receive. For sure. Nice. So, guys, here is this wrap up here from Sylvester McNaught. He says, if you don't examine your fears, they will control you for the rest of your life. Sometimes you have to be brave and wild and just say, fuck it. I trust myself. Let's see what happens. Sometimes you have to be brave and wild and just say, fuck it. I trust myself. Let's see what happens. Yes, Sylvester, that was a word. I agree. Right? So, guys, let me know how you're feeling. How are you feeling this morning? Good morning, Alyssa. Anita says she feels ready, expecting. I expect great things today. Awesome. Morning, Alyssa. Good morning. Andrea, you love it. Awesome. So, guys, thank you for staying with me this morning. Thank you for being present. Thank you for giving yourself permission to be here. I enjoyed your company. I really did. And we're going to do this next week again. What's happening this week? This week we have a breathwork session, November 11th at 7 p.m. So you guys are free to join in if you've not had a breathwork session as yet. If you're used to breathwork sessions, then surely get in there. You could find me on all the social media platforms or visit my website, www.truegrowthcaribbean.com. And then what else we have? Friday, we have Sip and Color. Yeah. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check me on all social media platforms. And I would see you guys soon. Do you guys have any questions for me before you all go? Well, before I go, do you all have any questions for me? If not, right now, but you do when it comes up throughout the day, be sure to send me a message. You could email me, you could DM me, inbox me, whatever medium works for you. All right, guys. So I love you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Yes, positive vibes, bright smiles, chin up vibes, Keisha. What does Andrea say? I got up the void. Now I feel encouraged. I love that. Awesome, guys. Guys, so I'm pumped for today too. See you guys Thursday for breathwork, Friday for sip and color. And then we do this again next week. All right. Have an awesome day, guys. Bye bye.